سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح يسعك الفضاء الرحيم الفسيح.
So, to memorize the new lesson, we tried to keep it very basic and keep small points. So the first point is recite repeatedly, read the verses multiple times and focus on the pronunciation. So when you are doing your new muraja, when you're doing your new hifz, it doesn't matter how much you're reading. If you're reading 2 pages for your new lesson, 1 page, half a page, 1 ayah, as long as you're reciting it properly and you know how to recite it. So focus on your tajweed, focus on your pronunciation, so that you can, once you become a hafiz, you're able to do proper pronunciation. That you're doing proper qalqala, you're doing heavy ra, you're doing light ra whenever you need to. So the main thing is recite repeatedly. So when you have an ayah, one of my teachers, they said, read the ayah 50 times at least. Read the ayah 50 times at least. So it would take a while, but once you get into that flow, it will just feel like 10 minutes, inshallah. The second point is to break it down. If you cannot do the full page, if you cannot do a full page of memorization, break it down. Either throughout the whole day, do some at Fajr, that you can do like a quarter or even less than that at Fajr. Then at Dhuhr, you can do your next section. Then after Maghrib, you can do your next section. Then after Isha, you don't have to do it all consecutively, basically. You can break it down throughout the whole day. And then the last one is listen actively. Listen to recordings of verses and follow along in the recitation. One of the best ways to understand the Quran is when you actually listen to a shaykh reciting it. If you go on YouTube, if you go to Isha Salah, and then sometimes you put the page that you are memorizing, and then you listen to the way how they're reciting. And then you imitate them as best as possible so that melody can get stuck into your head. So that is the 3 points. Recite the ayah repeatedly. Break it down. You do not have to do it in one big chunk. And the last one, listen to others reciting the section that you are memorizing.
One more important thing about listen actively. When you listen to a sheikh, you need to ensure that that sheikh has proper tajweed and his sifat and his makharij, the way how he pronounces the words of the Quran is proper. Because at this stage of a child, this is the child's building phase. Once they pick up on something, they will hold on to that forever. So if they listen to a sheikh whose melody may be good, but their sifat, their makharij, the way how they pronounce is off, they're going to take that and they're going to take that until however long it is. So it is important that at this stage, that you choose a good sheikh. There are so many good sheikhs out there. For example, Sheikh Mishari, Sheikh Abdul Basit. These people have the golden throats. Their makharij, their sifat are perfect for kids. So inshallah, that's an important point to remember as well. So effective sadqi revision. The first one is regular review. So review previously memorized sections daily, and consistency is key. We cannot emphasize enough how much consistency is needed. For example, Abdurrahman, in general, so he left the Quran for a little bit, right? So he didn't have that consistency with him. So he forgot a little bit of it. So when you memorize, it is important that you memorize your new lesson and you move on. But as you move on, you need to ensure whatever's behind, you review that as well. That is one of the most important things. Number 2, connect the verses. Understand the relationship between verses. This will aid recall. So once you understand, for example, there are different stories in the Quran, there are different ahkam in the Quran. Once you divide this into sections, you will be able to help your child understand that this section is talking about, for example, this is talking about the story of Nuh, this entire section. This story is talking about the story of Ad or something. So once you divide it into these sections, it will help you, it will help the child, it will be easier for the child to recall the different sections. And number 3, read with classmates. Reading your revision will not only encourage to read more than your friend, it helps you both to stay on track and schedule. So alhamdulillah, all of you, you have classmates, and that is one of the most important things. When we were MQA, one of the most important things was our classmates' support. Right? We couldn't do this alone. So for example, if the sheikh was busy sometimes, we would go to our classmates and we would recite to them, and then they would correct us. They would give us feedback. So with our classmates' supports, we were able to finish the Quran, alhamdulillah. Ahmed, if you want anything to add from this.
Should I go on next?
Yes.
So basically, I just want to make sure there are three main things when you're becoming hafiz. First is the new lesson, which is where you keep pushing forward all the way towards the end of the Quran. Then you have the previous revision, where you recite yesterday's sabaq. Whatever you recited to your teacher, you recite that again. So that's your previous lesson. Then the last one is your revision. Basically, from whatever you memorize, you take maybe 5 pages, maybe 10 pages, however much, you take that and you do that for revision. And you do that with your shaykh. So basically, you have either your 1 page, your half page, quarter page of a new lesson, you have your previous lesson, and you have your muraja', your revision. So 3 things, bismillah. Weekly review. Dedicate time each week to review entire sections, keep the Quran fresh in your mind. So basically what this is saying is that in 1 week, try making 1 day, like Saturday or Sunday or something like that, try to read a full ajza for revision. This is not new lesson, this is something you have already previously memorized. Read that, the whole thing, by yourself. Read it, the whole thing by yourself. So that you can section out the whole ajza throughout that whole week when you're saying to your shaykh. So once you read that whole the 20 pages, the whole ajza, you can do 4 pages on Monday, 3 pages on Tuesday, Wednesday you have a light day, 2 pages, Thursday 5 pages, and so on and so forth. And you can do it, spread it out throughout the whole week. Of course you revise again and again every single day, but try making 1 solid day for revision. Then the second one is reflect on the meaning. This one is, for me, one of the most important things. When I became hafiz, the best thing that I did was purchase a word for word Quran. So it would show me the Arabi, and then right underneath it would show me the English translation. And I would read from my normal mushaf, whatever the sabaq that I had. Then I would go to this, and I would see, okay, this is what kanu means, this is what this means, this is what this means. And I would connect the translation myself. And then I would read the translation, so that I can actually visualize what we're reading, right? A lot of the Quran for us is a foreign language. A lot of us speak English as a first language or Urdu as a first language. Arabi is a little difficult on our tongue, and it's a little harder to understand because it's something new to us. It's a foreign language to us. So when you read the translation while you are reciting the Quran, you will understand, you'll be in the frame of mind that you're going through this story, you're going through this ruling, you're going through this lesson, and so on and so forth. And like something I cannot explain, but once you do the translation, you will actually see it in front of you. Like you will actually see the translation right in front of you. You will see the Arabi like this, and then you will have a own mental interpretation of the English translation in your head. It's very unique, mashallah. And then the last thing is vary your recitation. So try 3 things. 3 things. 1, read at a normal pace in which you memorize. At a normal pace. 2nd, read with the best tajweed as possible. Even if it's slow, very slow, and you're reading like Abdul Basit, read very slow, read with excellent tajweed. Then the last one, read as beautiful as you can. Read as beautiful as you can. Throw the med and then do your ghunna, everything. Try making your voice as beautiful as possible. And then the last one, try to combine all of these so you can have a normal recitation whenever you read to anyone. Like your shaykh, when you're leading Isha, when you're reading to anyone, you will have this normal recitation. That it's not without any good voice and it has full tajweed, or it is full voice and no tajweed, or you're just reading too fast or you're reading too slow. You will have a normal, average, decent pace. So these are the 3 things.
So memorization tips. The first one is retranslation, as Abdul Rahman just explained. Try to find a word-for-word Quran to supplement your Quran journey. So as Abdul Rahman mentioned, that as he said, that once you read the translation, you'll be able to depict a visual interpretation in your own mind. The second thing is new lessons. Focus on new lessons, build a strong foundation. So when you memorize something, it takes around a little bit of time for you need to constantly review it for you in order to keep it in your mind. So one of the most important things for a hafiz is his new lessons. He should constantly try his best to improve on his new lessons. And this is one of the most important things. Repeat, repeat, and repeat. Try your best to repeat as much as you can. And this is best done with a sheikh. Once you're listening to a sheikh, it will help you understand how to recite with the proper tajweed, with the proper makharij. And additionally, repeat, repeat, and repeat can also apply for our revision. Once you have completed a specific section of 1 juz, 3 juz, 5 juz, and you move on to the next section, it is important for you to repeat that section as often. Because one of the most important things is after becoming a hafiz is revision. Many hufaz we know, they become hafiz for the sake of the title only. And once you're done with it, you can ask them any question in the Quran and they will not know it. So once you become hafiz, it is important to keep that Quran with you. So it is important for the kids to review as well.
Another thing that I want to focus on is the new lessons. A lot of the time is that you see that you have 3 different things that you have to do. You have new lesson, you have previous, you have revision. Sometimes the kid or the parents might feel that I need to review on the revision, so I'll completely cut off on the new lesson, that I won't continue on with the hifz. Or sometimes it will be that it'll be complete full new lessons and no previous, no revision. The main thing is you keep a schedule. You keep a schedule that you have to do this page today, you have to do this for revision today, you have to do this for your previous lesson. And this is a daily thing. This is a daily thing. That you cannot leave your previous lesson for one day, or you cannot leave your hifz for one day, you cannot leave your revision. You have to do it every single day.
Consistency.
Yes, consistency.
Next one.
Yes.
This is one of the most important topics in the entire slide.
So 3 main things: create a supportive environment, provide a quiet and comfortable space for learning, and minimize distractions. So this is more for the parents when they are at home. A lot of the times, there's multiple siblings in the house. So sometimes you'll have one kid doing their new lesson, you'll have the other kid on the computer or doing something else. So if that kid sees that this kid is playing all around the whole day and he's not doing anything, you have to put them in a separate room so that they can focus on their new lesson, so that they don't feel left out, that they could have been doing this but they have to sit here, and it creates a negative impact on them. Second thing is that with the parents, sometimes they might be just too strict on the kid, that they couldn't complete the new lesson that they were expected to, and that they're going to have to finish this lesson and yesterday's lesson because you didn't finish it, and oh, you forgot your muraja, also that too. So if you keep piling all of this stuff on top of the child, they'll eventually feel stressed out and that they won't want to do it. Keep the schedule light, but not light enough where it's just he can finish it in like half an hour. Basically space out the whole day and keep a very supportive environment. Do not criticize your children on making mistakes. Do not criticize your children of not reading their muraja one day. Tell them it's okay, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it next time. The next thing is, yes, offer encouragement. And then the last one, make a plan. So sometimes making the schedule is a little hard because of your work schedule. Sometimes you might be busy, sometimes you might be going on vacation, sometimes you're doing school. So try to sit with someone who has become hafiz, or the sheikh. Sit down with them, see your kid's schedule, see your schedule. When can you sit down with your child? When can your child sit down with you? And check with the sheikh that how can I make an effective schedule for my child so that they can complete their hifz in a good duration amount of time. So what I did was during COVID, I bought this humongous calendar, and I wrote down my new lesson, I wrote down my previous lesson, and I wrote down my revision. And I would put Surah Al-Nisa, then I would write Ali Imran, and then Baqarah over here. And I would keep refreshing it every single month. So I would encourage you to make some type of planner either on your phone or keep it like a big visualization in your house so that they can have a sense of accomplishment that yes, I finished today's assignments and I'm good to go. So making a plan is very good. The next one.
Talk about schedule already.
Yes, so more onto the scheduling. Sometimes, so make a specific time for the Quran, right? Ask the sheikh, see your schedule and stuff. Focus on priorities, this is very important. Because your child is becoming a hafiz, there might be times where you have to sacrifice social events, family events, a lot of the events you might miss because your child has to do the revision. Okay? You cannot tell your child that, okay, we have a party to go to, leave your revision for today, we'll do it next time. It'll be ingrained in them that if there's any social event, that there's anything, I can get away with my new lesson. And that they'll have like a sense of happiness that yes, I have a party to go to or this to go to. I don't have to do my new lesson today. Always make sure, even if you have the function, go to the function, but make sure they finish their lesson either before or after that party. Okay. And then seek balance. Make sure that it's not the entire time Quran, that you just keep them locked up in a room and they're reading Quran again and again. Make sure they have their own enjoyment. They go out with their friends. They go outside and stuff like that. Avoiding burnout.
So avoiding burnout on this slide, so we talk about some different ways of how we can do that. The first one is rest. Sleep early and wake up at Fajr. The second one is take regular breaks during study sessions. Third one, fun, engage in enjoyable activities. And 4, reflect on your progress. Acknowledge your accomplishments and thank Allah for it. So I just want to briefly talk about reflect. So as a kid, when I was at MQA, Amal Quran Academy, when I would memorize a juz or 2 juz, whatever it was, my mom, she would prepare some kind of special thing. So one time, for example, after I completed the 25th juz, for example, she would come and she would bring not only me, but also my classmates to encourage them as well, like some kind of drink or some kind of snack or something. So we always want to make sure that kids, they thrive on rewards and fun and enjoyment. So if you make this journey an enjoyable one, it will allow for them to come closer to the Quran and come closer to Deen. Do you want anything else on this?
Basically, also one more thing. Make sure the sleep schedule is balanced, right? If your kid is going late at night and continuously reading Quran, the next day will not be that productive because they did not have enough sleep. Make sure they sleep early. Make sure they finish their lesson before going to sleep, right? And plan it out. That's the main thing. If you don't plan it, then it'll lead to late nights and then early mornings, and it'll be a whole mess. So make sure they get their proper amount of sleep that they have. And taking breaks. Try to make like a scheduled set amount of time, right? Like do a 45-minute session with your kid or a 30-minute session with your kid and then take a break. Do not go like a full 3 hours on them. That's a little too harsh. Try going max 1.5 hours. At max 1.5 hours. Otherwise their brain will not they will start feeling grumpy that they want to go outside.
Exactly, like at MQ Remember, so in the morning we would have our new lesson, which we would recite for about an hour or 2. And then after that, we would take around a 20 or 25-minute break in the middle. And then from around 10-ish, we would start our previous lesson, which was the one reviewed right before our new lesson, for around 2 to 3 hours because that was around 10 pages. And then in the middle of the day, we would have lunch, we would have recess, we would have around a 2-hour break. So as we see, we were able to take breaks in the middle. We were able to finish our new lesson, our previous lesson. And after Salat al-Zuhr, we would come back for an hour or 2 and finish our revision. So by that way, we were encouraged, we were able to take breaks, and everything was scheduled properly, alhamdulillah.
And then the last thing that I want to end on, it is Allah Azza wa Jall's rahmah that your child is able to memorize. It is Allah Azza wa Jall's rahmah, His mercy, His guidance. It's only because of Allah Azza wa Jalla that your child can memorize the Quran. So make sure you teach your child to thank Allah Azza wa Jal that He has given them this blessing. Alright? And that's the last thing. Jazakum khairan.
سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح يسعك الفضاء